Have you ever said, I need to write a book? I have a story to tell. I bet you that story is important to the world. You may think it's a small story, but small stories have huge impact. In today's video, we'll highlight the story of Hannah. Hannah wanted to be a mother so badly. So Hannah shared her husband with another woman, Punana. Hannah's husband name was Elkanah. So Elkanah once a year would go up and he, like a family vacation, would give these portions to his wives and the children, and they would go up and make the yearly sacrifice to God and have a good time. They would feast and eat, drink, and be merry. And so Punana, the other wife, will always vex Hannah's spirit that, basically I have the kids by him and you don't. And it began to make Hannah feel very bad. How the words from another person you can allow them to transfer into your soul, and if you don't have the mindset to cast those spirits out of yourself and that feeling, you would carry it for days and days and days. And this what Hannah was doing. So Hannah would go up to this priest this time and to this temple where everyone would gather, and she would mumble her prayers to God that she wanted this son. She wanted to be a mother, right? And so people would come up to this place, and the priest's name was Eli. And Eli's sons were not like him. They would, when the women would come up and get drunk at the temple, his sons would partake with the women. And it got back to Eli. Hey man, your sons are not doing like you. Okay, we'll take care of that. We'll look into that. Okay, so when Hannah was at the temple praying and mumbling the prayer, her mouth was moving, but the words were not coming out. So Eli thought that she was one of the women that would come up and get drunk and kind of hang around. So he saw her, Eli the priest saw Hannah and was like, how long you gonna be up here drunk? And so Hannah said, please don't mistake me as one of these women that just come up here and get drunk and kind of hang out with your sons. This is not that. I'm sorrowful because I can't bear a son to this man that I love, right? And this woman, his other wife, she continues to bother me about this situation. So Eli, the priest, told her, go your way. God is going to see to that you get what you seeking from him. God is going to give you that gift, right? So Hannah believed, right? What did Hannah want? To be a mother. She wanted a man child. What did she believe? She believed that her prayer could be heard, right? Initially, her belief was that she couldn't have a child. So now Hannah's belief is, I could have this child because God has heard my prayer. What was the fear? The fear was that I was going to be in this state where this woman over here, my husband's other woman, will continue to torment me forever. Every year we go up to this feast, and our husband give us money. He give her the money for her and her kids, and he give me a portion for me, and he gives me a double portion. But I want a child, and I fear getting tormented every year by not being a mother. And so when she went to the temple this time, and Eli said, God, he hears your prayer. He's going to answer that for you. She went on believing that it was so. So when they came back from the sacrifice and the feast, she knew her husband at that time. Her husband at that point conceived, right? Her son she named Samuel, not to be confused with Samson. We spoke last week about the story of Samson and Delilah. If you go a couple of pages more, you will read this story of Hannah in the book of Samuel. Samuel was also a judge. Samson was a judge, and then Eli was the priest and judge. Then we're going to come to the story of how powerful of a son that Hannah had in Samuel and what he went on to do, right? And so Hannah, she wasn't a single mother, but she was a mother that raised her son because she had an idea of who she wanted her son to be. And so when she had this son and the husband would continue to go up to meet the priest Eli and make the sacrifices and have this feast, he would take his other wife, Punana, and her children to the feast. But Hannah said, nah, I'm not going to take my son up, right? I'm just going to wean him, right? And when he's old enough, I'm going to take him up to the priest. And from that day forth, he's going to be a man of God, and he's going to stay with the priest, right? So as time went on, they continued to go back and forth. She weaned her son, right? She basically raised her son to be a child of God. So she spoke to her husband about it. He said, if that's, do what suits you, do what's right. You have a vision, you know what it is, I respect it. So she had this child. She raised this child to be a man of God. She took this child to this particular feast after he's raised to a certain degree and bring him to the priest Eli, where he was up under Eli. And every year from that point, she continued to come back up. And now she would make him a coat, a priesthood coat that he would wear, and she would give him one every year. And now Punana and her sons, it seems, are not coming to the feast. Now it seems like it's Elkanah, Hannah going up to the feast, and they are meeting they are meeting Samuel at the temple that while he's staying with Eli. And so, and Eli's getting older. He's hearing about his children, entertaining the women when the women come up once a year. And so, but he's raising Samuel, Hannah's son, right there with him. So Hannah continued to come up with her husband year after year after year. Eli is getting old. And so now, while Samuel is there with Eli, God calls him. He thinking that it's Eli calling. So Eli said, no, I didn't call you, son. Go back and lay down. God calls Samuel again. Samuel goes back to Eli. You did call me. I just heard you. No, this is the voice of God calling you. This time when you go back, he call you, say, here I am. Okay? Samuel hears the voice again. Samuel says, here I am. And now Samson is connected to the voice of God. So Samuel becomes a seer, right? A prophet, those that see and hear from God. And he now must teach others to do the same. So he becomes a very, very strong man in among the Israel people. So now she can go back to Punana and say, now shut your mouth. You've done this to me for years and years and years. And you had this great pride and this great ego. And you said all these manner of things against me. And your sons can't be compared to my son. He is a man of God. He's a priest. He's a seer. And Israel comes to him to be judged by him. So the people are saying now that the people of Israel, right, the Hebrew people, they want a king like the rest of the people. The Philistines and everybody else had kings. And to them, these judges are not working. Samson and Delilah, he was a judge. That wasn't working. Eli is a priest and a judge, but his sons, they entertaining the women that come up. Once they come up and they're drunk, their sons are taking advantage of them, right? So they're saying, we want a king. That kingship, that king must be anointed by Samuel. This how powerful Samuel was in the kingdom of Israel. So he anointed Saul to be king. Saul didn't know that he was supposed to hear and obey. Saul was the king because he was the most handsome. He was the tallest man there. And so that gave him the clout to say, okay, he must be the guy. He's the most handsome. He's the tallest. Israel saying, let's make him the king. But he didn't hear and obey, right? God said one thing. He said, well, let me tweak it a little bit and let's do it like this. So now Samuel, Hannah's son, come and say, well, now I got to snatch this from you. You can no longer be king. God has already spoken. Now Samuel comes to find David, which is a whole nother story, right? And so then you have the line of Judah, right? The lion of David, the star of David. All this has to come, but Samuel has to bless it first. This how powerful Hannah's son had became. This son that she prayed for and had a vision for. When I become a mother, this son is going to be a child of God. And that spirit ushered out into the world. And so a mother, a woman, can raise a man-child. So that debunks that myth. And to any woman that has a man-child, keep speaking life into that man-child, because your words are being heard by God. And if it seems like the man-child is not getting it, let God continue to work that thing out. Thank you for watching this video.